Thanks for bearing with me tonight. This is a little bit unexpected that I was going to be up in the front here tonight. So we'll move on with our second meeting of the night. Purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Public comment is welcome and issues will be referred to the appropriate board, committee, or administrator. Comments will be summarized in the official board minutes, which will be available by contacting the business office. Take a moment to silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. You probably have taken care of that already. Roll call. I believe that we have everybody present, and we will now honor our flag and country by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 on the agenda are notices and communications. Do we have any?
We'd like to acknowledge from the Cashtown Community Fire Department a letter received on October 30th to the Gettysburg Area School District stating on behalf of the Cashtown Community Fire Department, we thank you for the generous donation of $900 and the kind letter of appreciation. As you are aware, as a volunteer organization, all assistance received can assist us in covering costs of servicing our community and is greatly appreciated. Respectfully submitted, Lisa Dallas, Secretary.
Thank you. Any other notices or communications? Mr. Nett, citizens participation. Did we have anybody request to address the board?
No, sir.
Before we move on, though, I have noticed that we have several young members in uniform, and I didn't know, is the leader here tonight? Could you at least stand, tell us who you are and who you're representing?
Mike Brubaker. I'm here with Troop 79 for the Boy Scouts that meet in St. James Lutheran Church. They are earning their citizenship in the Community Merit Badge, so one of the requirements is they have to attend a community meeting and write about an issue that's discussed and what their opinion on the issue is with their counselor. So,
very good. Very good, and thank you for attending. Item 5 on the agenda are the routine approvals. So we would be approving items 5.1, regular board meeting minutes, November 4, 5.2, the meeting minutes from November 18th, 5.3, E&B transportation driver, 5.4, the Jacoby transportation drivers, and item 5.5, human resources recommendations.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. Carrie.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Kenny.
Yes.
Amy Beth.
Yes.
Timon.
Yes.
I vote yes. Kathleen.
Yes.
And Tim.
Yes.
Thank you. Items for board action. Subject to PSBA proposal.
This is the proposal that we do every couple of years whenever it's time to do the meet and discuss with our district administrators for the Act 93 agreement. PSBA does a salary study for us across the state. It gives us something to work with whenever we're creating that agreement with our Act 93 group. So this enables us to engage in that study. It's been a couple of years, so their agreement ends at the end of this current year. So we'll be talking, meeting and discussing soon. So we want to get the information back as soon as we can.
Dr. Perry, do you happen to know when the last study originated? What year?
Yeah, it was the spring of 17. And then we used that study to create the most recent Act 93 agreement.
Thank you.
I move to approve the contract with PSBA.
Second?
Any discussion? Any further discussion on that item? Okay. Michael?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes.
Timon? Yes. I vote yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And Carrie?
Yes.
Thank you. Policy 6.2, prohibition of tobacco products. This is for final approval.
I move to accept policy 222, prohibition of tobacco products.
Second?
Any discussion? Kenny?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes.
Timon? Oh. Kenny?
Yes.
I vote yes. Timon, did I get you on this one?
Yes. Twice.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 6.3, the Act 1 resolution. This is the resolution where the board will discuss and take action on a request to adopt the 2021 budget resolution confirming that the Act 1 index for tax increases for the 2020-2021 school year will not be exceeded by the district. This action would not allow exceeding the adjusted Act 1 index of 2.6% for any reason.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Al, are you there?
Yes, sir.
You cut out, that is the not raised tax index, correct?
That is correct. Beyond the index that is established by the state of 2.6%.
Thank you.
Mr. Fortnum, sorry to put you on the spot, but do you recall what the amount would have been that Gettysburg could have accepted beyond the index? I think it was a small number.
Last year it was $8,000, so we ignored it. This year we're not even sure it would be above zero. So we thought we would get this completed early because that enables us to just start working on a real budget earlier versus going through the motions of doing a preliminary budget. So we're doing this a little bit earlier than we usually do. And as a reminder, if at the end of the meeting, we really wouldn't need the second meeting in December with this action tonight.
And the action is to stay within the index, but it does not mean that taxes would be raised to 2.6, the top of the index.
Right, that's just the ceiling.
Thank you, Carrie. You were breaking up and you explained it perfectly. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Amy Beth?
Yes.
Timon?
Yes.
I vote yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Kenny? Thank you. Are there any additional information items? I would like to just go back to the human resources part just for a moment. And even though Carrie coached me on this, I missed this. I do want to congratulate Lieutenant Colonel Michael Wirtz, who is our ROTC person, on his retirement. I believe he had 13.5 years in the district. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to our new principal for James Getty, Mr. Ted Wells. He'll be starting, I believe, on January 2nd. Is that right, Dr. Perrin?
That's the plan, yep.
And also the retirement of Janet Heises, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She served as an ESL teacher for us in the district. Retiring.
Hiring.
She's what?
We just hired her.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's not retiring. She's coming on board. And then also we want to thank Lisa Roy for her tenure in the district this past year at James Geddes Elementary School. Anything else in the way of informational items? Mr. McQuaid?
You don't have to do this, but you may want to consider appointing a new treasurer. Because once Kenny was elected president, he can't hold two positions. So I think you can declare the treasurer position vacant, and Tom will tell you how quickly you need it, but at some point you won't be able to pay your bills without a treasurer.
It would be best to do it tonight.
Basically, your signature is used for the checks.
Right.
So there's, not to scare anybody away from that position. We have a business office.
You're the first one who goes to jail.
Do we need a motion to appoint a treasurer, or do we take nominations?
Take nominations, probably.
Yeah, I'd open the floor for nominations for treasurer.
Okay, before moving on, let's open the floor for, do we have any nominations for treasurer?
Well, Mr. McQuaid just scared us all with the jail talk.
Yeah, scared everybody.
You're bonded.
Mr. McQuaid, is it possible, since we don't have any nominations on the floor right now, and again, we have several new members to the board, that we could table that to the next school board meeting and,
It would hold up the ability to pay bills.
oh, okay.
I will nominate myself. That's allowed.
I will second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kathleen. Any other nominations? And then what do we need to do to approve her?
The same, just ask yes.
And to close the nominations?
Okay. Nominations are now closed. Gotcha. For this one. Sorry. Michael. Kenny.
Yes.
Amy Beth.
Yes.
Timon.
Yes.
I vote yes. Carrie.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Very good. Kathleen, thanks for stepping up.
You're welcome.
Board committee reports. Are there any reports this evening?
Mr. Vice President, the Finance and Facilities Committee will meet the third Thursday of the month. We will have Mr. Wayne Crosby back at the table, and I'm excited for that.
Thank you. Any other committee reports?
Maybe policy.
Right. Policy will be meeting this month, second Tuesday, or I should say January 2nd Tuesday.
December 10th.
December 10th is our next one. But they generally are the second Tuesday of each month at 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock, thank you.
In here unless otherwise
I
specified.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Amy Beth, are you interested in serving on that committee? Or, oh,
And board members welcome to
Right,
attend those,
right.
and, to get the flavor of the committee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
building programs report. Dr. Perrin?
That's what we talked about.
Good evening. As we're just back from our break this Thursday, we have our next countywide induction session. We have about 50 participants coming, and I will be conducting Ruby Payne's Framework for Poverty training with that group on Thursday evening. Thank you.
Hope that everybody had and their families had a great Thanksgiving holiday. As we approach the holiday season, we're in weather delay, closure, cancellation. We're getting there quickly. So we send out a variety of ways, but if you follow me on Twitter, that's where it goes first. We get out pretty quickly everywhere else too. So we're hoping that there's 0 days this year, and we'll see how that works. And the admin team and faculty and staff are working diligently. Those 3 weeks between Thanksgiving holiday and the winter holiday, it's always, you in conjunction with the excitement of the holidays, you're trying to also make sure that learning is still occurring as we're working to meet our mission. So thanks to everybody for keeping the focus while also appreciating and enjoying the things that come with the holidays and your families. Late November, attended the Superintendent's Academy meeting up in Bataan, up in Harrisburg. Shared a little bit about what we're doing with the Gettysburg Leadership Academy, and that along with some other events are seeing to gain traction around the state. So we're looking at alternate pathways to certification for school administrators outside of university certs. So hopefully down the road here, districts working with professional organizations can get folks certified simply by going through really kind of intense internship type programs in public schools, which is where a lot of the important training occurs anyway. So that was fantastic. December 20th, approaching quickly. Don't forget, it's a half day for students. 11 a.m. dismissal for secondary, 12 o'clock noon dismissal for elementary. And for you folks are going to receive this information about 74 times in the next 5 days, but I'm going to list it anyways. The mandatory board training that needs to be done within the first year. It's 5 hours training for newly elected board members. It's 3 hours of training for re-elected board members. There are regions all across the state where PSBA runs those. The closest one to us is Penn Manor, happening at Penn Manor School District for anybody interested. The 5-hour training is slated for Saturday, January 11th. And the 3-hour training is also Saturday. I will send this out to you all as a PDF so that you have it. And those are the ways that you can meet the Act 55 or the hours required. We'll also do some onboarding type things just as a district outside of that, as a new group of 9, 8 right now, but 9 eventually, in terms of working together with me. And so we'll have that as well, but just wanted to point these out, and we'll send the information out via email to all of you also. Thank you. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Dr. Parent. Item 10 on the agenda, if you'll note the calendar of board events. Our next school board meeting will be on Monday, December 16th, 2019, last one of the 2019 school year. Are there any other items for consideration before we adjourn?
You may be interested in making a motion to not have that meeting since we passed the motion earlier.
And we would take a motion if there are no agenda items for that next meeting in December, that meeting be canceled.
And I was second that.
Any any discussion on that? And Dr. Perrin, I would just ask, and Tom also, do we anticipate many items or business items that we need to address before the holidays?
No, we got that one done tonight, and that was the pressing one.
Let's take a vote. Kathleen?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes?
I vote yes. Timon?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other items for board consideration before we adjourn?
I actually do have something, a few minutes of your time. As we and the public know, we have a vacant 2-year seat on the school board. And in the 2 years that I've been on the board, we have filled vacant seats by advertising to the public that a vacancy exists and offering the public an opportunity to apply for a position. And the sitting board members then select the person to fill the seat. To the best of my knowledge, though, we're in a really unique position where we are on the heels of a public election, and I don't recall that being the case before. So I spent a lot of time reflecting on the best way to potentially fill this vacancy. And here's kind of what I came to. 6 candidates ran for 5 school board seats. And I can't help but think that we should honor the voices of the 2,717 voters who cast their ballot for that 6th candidate on November 5th. If we choose to solicit applications to fill the seat, I truly worry that we are effectively saying that our 8 voices are more important than 2,717 tax-paying voters. So, I would like to make a motion and just ask you to consider honoring almost 3,000 of our taxpayers and district voters. And my motion follows, and it's lengthy, upfront apologies. Here's my motion. The voting public of our district has an interest in filling the school board seat left vacant in the November 5th, 2019 election expeditiously and fairly. It is our fiduciary responsibility to the voters of this district to do so and to honor their interests, as 2,717 votes assured us of, the candidate Alice Broadway be appointed to fill the vacant seat. We could advertise the open seat and the 8 sitting board members select an appointee. And this procedure makes sense most of the time. But as the election just finished, I think 2,717 votes carry more weight than our 8. I propose to honor the voice of the voting public that Alice Broadway be appointed to fill the school board seat left vacant in the November 5th, 2019 election, and that Ms. Broadway is sworn in as soon as possible. Thank you.
Mr. McQuaid, any advice for this motion?
Well, I don't have advice so much as just maybe to put it into legal context. We do have a vacancy. That vacancy, in my opinion, was created today when the board reorganized and there were only 8 qualified people to fill the 9 positions. So December 3 is the start date for the vacancy. There's only one relatively terse section of the school code addressing what happens with a vacancy. A school district of this size and class has the exclusive right, the board has the exclusive right within a 30-day window to appoint someone to fill the vacancy. And all that's required is that that person be a resident, a qualified resident of the district. There's nothing in there about what procedure you need to follow, etc. If you do go beyond the 30 days, then it is possible if 10 electors or more petition the Court of Common Pleas, then the court can appoint would then have the exclusive right to appoint. If the 10 electors don't petition and you go beyond the 30 days, you can still appoint. So 60 days from now, you could be appointing if the court hasn't intervened. But it is worthwhile paying attention to the 30 days. The procedure that's been followed in the past has been noted. It is a procedure that this board has followed, but it is not required. And the fact that you followed it in the past doesn't mean you have to follow it now. But so I don't have any advice one way or the other as to what you should do procedurally.
Are you open for discussion at this point?
That's my question also.
Only if there's a second, right?
There has to be a
There's only a
second to
motion.
discuss this, correct?
Yeah, forgive me. Yes, there should be a second before the motion is before the meeting.
I will second so that we can have a discussion and amendments or whatever may need to be done, so I second the motion.
Okay, we are now open for discussion.
Al, before I lose you all, in case I do, each of you received an email or correspondence or some sort of verbal communication. In the democratic process, we once again are breaking away from precedent. We have gone through the years, right or wrong, with an interview process. We have newly elected members that have absolutely no idea who Sylvan Hershey is or Alice Broadway. We knew the board members today hold them in the highest regard. They are fantastic servants and dedicated Gettysburg School Board members. However, we are asking them tonight by this motion, the new board members, to vote on somebody that they have not had an opportunity to meet or discuss to see the direction of Gettysburg School District. And I cannot support that. And it's not a secret because the four that are sitting there now, you know full well we're on camera.
I'm not sure what the last thing you said is, but the motion could be amended.
Mr. Vice President, I would like to make a motion to postpone
I'm not
the motion
voting on that
indefinitely.
motion. It was under discussion, and under discussion, as I outlined in other previous conversations, I don't believe it to be fair across the board, newly elected board members, to appoint somebody on their first day of taking office. They don't know. We know Alice Broadway, and we know Sylvan Hershey. This is not about them. They are the highest integrity people. In fact, I nominated Alice Broadway, who sat before this board, to come on. But this is not personal. This is about the process. And once again tonight, we are changing the process, but it's not sure why.
Mr. Dickinson, could you repeat what you said before, please?
Mr. Vice President, I would like to make a motion to postpone this main motion indefinitely so we can have further discussion.
I second it.
And that motion then procedurally would require a 2/3 vote.
So we need to first vote on
On the motion to postpone.
the motion to postpone.
So if we set a direction tonight, we could advertise this, I'm looking at the 30-day
Right.
window, and the fact that the next meeting is until January.
Yeah, I'm in favor of setting a direction. That's part of why I seconded the motion, is that we have the opportunity to amend the motion or even discuss what direction the board would like to go from this point to fill that vacancy, whether it is appointing someone tonight or whether it is to go through the process of advertising or appointing a different person. There's lots of different routes to go.
Yeah, certainly, administration is certainly at the will of the board. It would be beneficial for us if we knew leaving here tonight that we needed to advertise in terms of timeframe.
Do the 30 days take effect the day of the election or tonight?
Tonight.
From tonight, okay.
We just agreed not to have a board meeting in December. The second one.
I'm just trying to.
So what we would generally do if, I'm just, for folks that haven't been here, over the past 2.5 years, whenever we've had open seats, the way we've done it is, we've advertised, say we would advertise this Friday, and it would be open for a couple of weeks. We might close it the first Friday in January. And then the second meeting in January, we would have interviews prior to the regular scheduled board meeting. And so we would sit and, you all would sit and listen to the candidates, and then you'd approve a candidate that night at the second board meeting. If we did it the way we had been doing it, that's kind of how it would flow.
So, real quick, we have a second on our motion to postpone Kathleen's motion. If we could vote on that and postpone it, someone could have a new motion to continue on with advertising or a path forward. I feel like we're being forced into a vote.
Procedurally, I think the vote then would be on the postponement, and I believe procedurally that requires a 2/3 vote to postpone a motion.
And by postponing, does that also mean that we would revert back to past practice and advertise?
No.
It does not mean
It
that.
just means the main motion on the floor to nominate Alice Broadway would be postponed to a later time. That's all that it means.
Okay.
That's what you'd be voting on. And it was made an indefinite postponement, as I understood.
It just takes it off the table for this agenda, so we could maybe talk about something else.
And I want to be clear that we said goodbye to 4 board members in our last meeting, and all 4 people were stellar board members, and we probably are in agreement we would be happy to have any of them come back. My intent was not to show preferential treatment for any one of the 4 board members who no longer sits with us. It was really about honoring them.
So then, our next step then would be to take a vote on postponing. Postponing.
Right, you gotta vote on the postponing first.
A vote of, by responding yes, you're supporting postponing the appointment. Okay, roll call. Carrie? Sorry to put you first.
If we postpone the motion that I made indefinitely, what's our next step?
That's what I'm thinking about, so
That we have
That's what we
that.
would
there
discuss.
has to be a
I believe.
motion to discuss, I think is what you were just saying, discuss, the procedure for, how to fill the vacancy.
Michael, would you be interested in amending your motion to add that component onto it? So about, a discussion then of how to fill the seat?
Subsidiary motion is not amendable, is that correct, Bob?
Pardon?
A subsidiary motion is not amendable, is that correct?
I don't know if it can be amended, but it can't be, it can't be a hostile amendment. I mean, she's asking if you would just change your motion. I agree, it can't be a hostile amendment.
I just want to have like everyone else, I want to have a path going forward, but I don't want to vote on one particular person this evening, so however we proceed forward.
I think you have the motion, and you can just take the vote. You have the motion to postpone, and the other thing to do is to have a vote. And if you have to have 5 board members vote in favor of seating a new member in the vacancy. So there are 2 ways of dealing with this. Either you withdraw your motion for postponement and then vote on the main motion, or go ahead and have a vote on the postponement.
I'm thinking, since Kathleen made her motion first, that we have a roll call vote on whether or not.
No, you can't do that.
Okay.
As long as you have a motion to postpone the main motion, you
Okay.
have to deal with that first.
Gotcha. So we'll do a roll call vote on postponing that motion. And a vote of yes means that we will postpone,
In effect, table it.
and in fact, table that appointing someone.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Carrie, to put you on the spot. You had a little time to think. Carrie?
No.
Michael,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Timon,
Yes.
I vote yes. Kathleen,
No.
Tim.
Yes.
So Bob,
So that motion will be tabled.
if that's tabled, that doesn't preclude us from advertising, correct?
No, no, it does not.
Okay.
No, I mean, it just pushed that motion into the future, and now you can entertain any new main motion.
May I at this time make a motion to advertise, please, for 30 days?
I suppose I missed the motion.
If we could, if we could make the, if you could make the motion to advertise, and just not be specific about the days. Okay.
I would like to make a motion to advertise.
Second.
Any discussion, any further discussion?
The only discussion I would have is that we are back against our timetable. So I believe Dr. Perry can structure through the district the time frame that we're going to leave the application process open so that we're able to meet these candidates in a timely manner in our January meeting.
Will do.
And I would just add, I think we have compelling arguments that Kathleen has, and I think there are also compelling arguments to table this and so on. So I also, I'm leaning in favor of following how we have done our past practice and advertise.
This has also taken place within the year. We had 2 open seats on this board. It was advertised for 30 days, and we were able to fill with those 2 excellent candidates for those seats after vetting properly. So I look forward to that process.
You know, I'd also like to suggest to the chair, our current chair of the policy committee, I recognize that may or may not change, Mr. Vice President, but I think that when we take a look at the policy of the board on filling a seat, we really might want to address methodology so this conversation, confusion, uncertainty doesn't happen in the future.
Can we amend his motion to make the final day before the January meeting? So we have it.
I'd like to have as much leeway as possible. So if we could just allow us to work on advertising. We generally have been able to get everything done with the previous couple of searches, because I think we've done as many as 3 just since I've been here. We usually do it within about 30 to 40 days, and generally statewide, court, if the court knows that you're in the process of selecting someone, the court generally doesn't step in and, you're talking about the 10 people.
Well, I'll knock on wood, because I almost hate to say this, but it's very, very unusual for such a petition to be filed before a court. So watch one be filed here. But even there, my prediction is that most judges, if they're gonna hear a petition, the first thing they're gonna ask is, well, let me hear from the school board what their preference is. So the judge isn't gonna just wanna pick somebody out of the air.
Right.
The judge is gonna wanna hear from the constituencies, and this would be a main constituency. So you wouldn't totally lose your voice, even if we were in court.
Yeah.
Dr. Perrin, are you thinking of trying to have that done so we would make a decision like on the 21st, or are you thinking the beginning of February?
I'm thinking it would definitely be done in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that was, and I apologize and I'll be quiet, was that Mr. McQuaid's explanation on the judges and stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for common sense clarity.
Do we need to take any action at this time on that?
Well, I think there's a motion to advertise, so yeah, you need to vote.
Okay. Motion to advertise. Michael,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Timon,
Yes.
I vote yes. Kathleen,
Yes.
Yes.
And Carrie.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll keep in contact with the president and vice president regarding the dates, and then once we have them solidified, I'll send it out to the rest of the board.
Are there any other items for board consideration before we adjourn? Since we will not have a second meeting in December, on behalf of the school board, I'd like to wish everyone out there a very joyous and blessed holiday season. Thank you.